Greetings to everybody. Can you hear me all right? Right now, I'm waiting for your questions. Today, I'll be here for 1 hour to answer your questions. But this is some new format in the Facebook Live. I cannot see your comment. I'm not sure whether your comment will appear on this page or not. Okay, here it comes. First comment from Joylyn K. Good afternoon, Ajahn. It is true swallow saliva during the meditation is considered desire. Is it a must to take 8 precepts in order to achieve the meditation? Thank you. Well, the first question, when you want to swallow saliva, that is a desire, and it has to do with the body, so you can call it a sensual desire. This can cause an interruption in your meditation, so you should not swallow. Just leave the saliva alone. If the saliva wants to come out of your mouth, just ignore it. Just let it be. Just keep focusing on your meditation object. If you want to succeed in your meditation, if you want your mind to be calm, peaceful, then don't worry about the saliva. Let it flow out of your mouth. Second question, is it a must to take 8 precepts in order to achieve the meditation? It's not a must, but it is a prerequisite, really. It helps you to meditate more. If you want to meditate all day and all night, then keeping the 8 precepts will prevent you from going to do other things. It will provide you with the time to meditate more. So yes, if you want to advance, if you want to have more time to practice meditation, then you need to keep the 8 precepts. But if you only meditate once or twice a day, 30 minutes or an hour, then keeping the 8 precepts is not important. Kenneth Hunt, good morning, Ajahn. Sound and vision are very good. Thank you very much. We have to come back to the old format, the sound and sure format, because something is wrong with the microphone, with the Messenger Live platform. It's good to hear from you again. Hope you're well. Sunny Loon, greeting Ajahn. Audio is good, Sadhu. You're welcome. Thank you. Metalo, Sadhu, Sadhu. Chakma Jana, good morning, Pande from France. My question is, how can control human anger? Mindfulness or wisdom? If you're mindful, as soon as you have any anger, you can stop it right away. If you don't have mindfulness, you can develop it by using the mantra Bhutto Bhutto. Keep practicing reciting the mantra Bhutto Bhutto. Almost all of the time if you can. And only when you want to think about something else, then you should stop reciting the mantra. Once you know how to recite the mantra for a long time, as soon as you get angry, you just keep reciting the mantra Bhutto Bhutto. After a few minutes, your anger will disappear. The second method is the use of wisdom. Wisdom will tell you that your anger is caused by your desire. When you desire for something and you cannot get what you want, then you can become angry. So if you don't want to have anger, then you have to stop your desire or your expectation. Just take things as they come. Don't expect things to be as you like it to be, because when it doesn't happen, you get angry. Kenneth Hunt, Sadhu, Sadhu. Naomi Jonas, Sadhu, Sadhu. From Ali Hassan. Good morning to Ajahn and all Kalyana Mitra. Hope everyone are doing well, Sadhu, Sadhu. Ted Ang, good afternoon, Ajahn. When you mention reciting Bhutto as the meditation object, does that refer to verbally reciting our Bhutto or mentally thinking Bhutto? Mentally thinking Bhutto, Bhutto. But when you first starting, if you cannot recite mentally, you can recite verbally, but softly and quietly. Don't disturb other people. But if you can recite mentally, then just do the mental recitation. You want to keep reciting for a while in order to be able to control your thoughts, your emotions. Soon Heng Yo, good afternoon, Thanajan. Joyce Hui, good afternoon, Thanajan. May Thanajan be well always, Sadhu, Sadhu, from Malaysia. Ya Shanicha, Sadhu, Sadhu. Sivali Visaka, Namaskaran Ajahn. May Ajahn always in happiness and good health, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Alfredo Vilela, hi Pante. Hi, how are you, Alfredo? Hope you are well, hope you are happy, hope you are mindful and have equanimity, Ubeka. From Ali Hassan, Ajahn today sound and clear, no gru background, vibrated as yesterday has. Thank you very much. There was something wrong with the messenger program. The camera and microphone is working well with other programs. So it must be the messenger program that had some issues with my microphone. From Elia Lim, Sadhu, Sadhu. Sebastian Lim, Sadhu, Sadhu. Claudia Schweiner, Sadhu, Sadhu. Dukkha Kos. Good day, Ajahn. I wish to ask if we are able to be more concentrated in laying down position than sitting position. No, you will tend to go to sleep. When you lay down, you're becoming comfortable, and as you become comfortable, your concentration will diminish, and eventually you'll lose all concentration or mindfulness. Then you fall asleep. Can we continue so long as we didn't go to sleep mode? Yes, but I don't think you will last long. That's the problem. But if you sit, you will not fall asleep easily. So try both methods, see which one works better for you. If lying down works for you, then it's okay. But I doubt it. Unless if you are sick and you cannot get up and sit, then you might have to do it lying down. Otherwise, I think sitting will allow you to sit longer and have better result from your meditation. Manbo Moon, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Kathleen, good afternoon, Ajahn. Good afternoon to you. Lero Yang, good afternoon, Master. If you are new in this meeting, can you please indicate where you come from? I would appreciate it to know where you come from. the country that you come from. Irene Uy, good afternoon, Ajahn and everyone in the Dhamma. May Ajahn and all stay well and safe. Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you. Eileen Chi, sadhu, sadhu. Soon Hin Yo, Ajahn, can we switch our focus to the stomach when we lost focus on our breath at the tip of the nostril? Yes, if you cannot watch your breath there, and if you can feel the breath in your stomach, then you can switch if you like, but don't switch back and forth. Try to stay at one point, because in order for the mind to become still, you have to remain fixed in one point. Your attention has to be at one point only. Don't keep moving back and forth, because your mind will not become still. Are we allowed to do such switching in meditation? Thank you. Yes, you are allowed, but only once. Not keep switching again and again. If you don't have to switch at all, that would be better. But if you have to switch, just switch only once. Because sometimes you can be deceived by yourself, your mind, thinking that maybe this position is better than that position. So when you move, after a while you start to think again, maybe the other position is better. So if you do like this, you will not be able to still your mind, fix your mind in absorption, in jhana. Hu Lin Lao, sadhu, sadhu. Colonel Kennedy Vandami Ajahn from Indonesia. Sunny Lim, good morning Ajahn. Suchart, hope you are good after your vaccination. Stay strong, healthy, happy, safe and peaceful. Lim from KL, Malaysia. Thank you very much. I am okay now. No more fever, no more ache and pain. I'm now back to normal. Ali Hassan, I think this is a reply to about switching the focus to the stomach. Yes, I face same condition. Cannot feel air inhale, exhale around nostril, Ajahn. Thought yes, focus to stomach, sadhu, sadhu. Or if you can continue on focusing on the nostril and just be aware that there is no breath, that is also possible. Just keep watching the emptiness of breath as your meditation object. Just keep focused and don't allow your mind to go think about other things. Nero Yong, I am from Singapore. Thank you. Anatta, hi Ajahn. I am Gui Eng Hong from Singapore. Thank you for teaching us. You're welcome. Anuma Kelboa. Sadhu. Another one from Ali Hassan Soti Hoto Ko Cornell. How are you doing? Hope you are in good condition during this pandemic. Stay safe. Okay. Dhamma sharing, Vandami Ajahn. I have read a story when the Bodhisattva was born as a young man who forgot the Uposatha day. At that time, Bodhisattva was back from a long journey. It was already past the noon time when he arrived at the palace. He then found out that it was the Uposatha day. In a condition that was very tired and had not eaten all day, he remained determined to take the Uposatha precept, and this became the cause of the Bodhisattva's death. Buddha teaching is to practice in the middle way. But how to explain the Bodhisattva decision at that time? That's him practicing extreme self-torture that became the cause of his death. The reason why the Bodhisattva did what he did was because there was no Buddha teaching at that time. So he didn't know anything about the middle way. To him, to protect his vow, to keep his vow is more important than protecting his life. So this is what made him a Bodhisattva. He's willing to give up his life to protect the vow that he made, to maintain the vow that he made. This is the nature of a Bodhisattva. You have to understand, during the Bodhisattva's lifetime, there was no Buddha's teaching. So he didn't know anything about the middle way. But for us right now, if we used to have a Bodhisattva vow, we might change it. We can change it. Because if we stick to the vow, it might take a longer time for us to realize enlightenment. But if we switch and follow what the Buddha teaches us, that is to keep the middle path, then we can switch. Like we might have if we have a Bodhisattva vow of helping others before helping ourselves, then we can switch the vow and reverse it. According to the Buddha's teaching, we must first help ourselves before we can help others more effectively. Because if we are not enlightened and if we help other people, we can only help them physically. But once we become enlightened, and when we help other people, we can help them mentally, to help them to become enlightened. So if you happen to take a Bodhisattva vow of helping other people before helping yourself, then this is the time for you to switch to the middle way. The middle way is to help yourself first. Make yourself become enlightened first, before you can help to make other people become enlightened. If you're not enlightened and if you help other people, you can only help them physically, but not mentally, because you don't know yourself how to help yourself mentally. So you first have to become enlightened, then you can then help other people to become enlightened. So if you took the vow of helping others, you have to switch and stop helping others and first concentrate on helping yourself. Get yourself enlightened first. After you have become enlightened, then you can then teach other people to become enlightened. Like Ajahn Man was dedicated to helping other people, teaching meditation to other people, but he didn't become fully enlightened yet. So he lost precious time while trying to help other people, teach other people how to meditate. Then one day he decided that he would never become fully enlightened if he didn't move away and live in seclusion. So he went away into the north, to the forest in the north of Thailand, and spent 10 years in the forest alone until he became fully enlightened. Before he came back and then helped other people. And after he's enlightened, then he could produce many noble disciples. Before that, he was not able to produce any noble disciples at all, because he himself wasn't enlightened yet, fully enlightened yet. Dukkha cause. I am from Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Ajahn. If the air in the morning is fresher, could it enhance our quality of meditation? It can somewhat, but it's not really that important. The air doesn't have to be always fresh. As long as it doesn't bother you, as long as the air doesn't cause you to have any sickness, then any type of air is okay. What is more important is your mindfulness. So don't worry too much about the external conditions. Be mindful, be concerned about your mindfulness. Try to stay mindful as much as possible, all the time, before you meditate. Ong Eng Eng, Sadhu Sadhu, Shayanan Moon Rabbit, Sadhu, Sadhu. Lung Demi, Sadhu, Sadhu. Kenneth Hunt, dear Thanajan, when sitting, I like to anchor the Buddha to the breath. While doing walking for several hours, I like to anchor the Buddha to the individual steps. This is recommended. Thank you. Yes, this is part of the practice if you find it useful for you, but not necessary. You can just use one or the other. You don't have to use both. But if you like to use both, that's okay. If you like to use the breath with Buddha, that's okay. If you like to use the steps with Buddha, that's okay. But you can also use Buddha alone, whether you're sitting or walking. Or you can watch the breath alone without using the Buddha. Or you can watch the steps alone without reciting the Buddha also. So this is up to your individual preference. Whatever you like or whatever you find it useful for you and produce the result that you need. Aranut Nui, good morning, Prajan from San Jose, California. When I try to sleep, I recite Bhutto Bhutto. Then my sleepiness went away and my mind feel awake. I always recite Bhutto Bhutto and feel asleep easily in the past. But I get opposite result recently. I want to sleep on the scheduled time. Could you please give me some suggestions? Then instead of reciting Bhutto, why don't you just watch the breath? Keep watching the breath. And keep watching the breath at the tip of your nose. Then you can fall asleep that way. Another reason why you don't fall asleep, that's because you have the desire to fall asleep. You must not have this desire to fall asleep because it will keep you awake. So just forget about whether you sleep or not sleep. Just do what you're supposed to do. That is, just keep watching the breath. And then you will fall asleep sooner or later. You have to be patient. Sometimes your desire to fall asleep is the real cause of your not being able to go to sleep. So you just have to let it be. Just keep reciting Buddha or watch the breath and don't expect to fall asleep right away. It might take a while, but eventually you'll fall asleep if you don't have any desire, any expectation that you have to fall asleep. Question from John Pepper, UK. I am very new to Buddhism and meditation. I am finding that many memories of painful things from the past that I had forgotten are rising. What is your opinion on this? It is normal, especially when your mind becomes calmer from meditation. Your ability to recollect past experiences become more stronger, more easy for you to recollect the past. Because some people, once they have fully calmed their mind, they were able to recollect past lives. That's because when the mind becomes calm, no present thought to block the thought about the past. So the thought about the past, which is in the background, then come out in the foreground. So you remember things in the past, both painful and unpainful feelings and painful experiences. But you can easily ignore them, or you can use the mantra. If you don't like them to come up, you can use the mantra, keep reciting Bhutto Bhutto until your mind becomes completely still. Then all thoughts will disappear. Thoughts of the past, thought of the future, thought in the present will stop. Then the mind becomes fully absorbed in jhana and have good feelings from this state of absorption. Jesada Buaban, Anyone who gets full enlightenment or arahanta will die on that day if he does not become a monk. I don't think so. What about the Buddha? He became an arahant. And was he a monk? No, he was just an ascetic. There was no Buddhist monk during the time before the Buddha became enlightened. They were just ascetics. They are just like lay people keeping the precepts. Do you consider them to be monks or not? This is a fallacy to think that as soon as you become an arahant, and if you don't become a monk, you will die within 7 days. This is a misunderstanding from maybe the stories in the Tripitaka, which indicates two persons as a lay person who became enlightened and did become a monk, had to die suddenly. One is the Buddha's father. The Buddha's father was laying on his deathbed when the Buddha taught him the Dhamma to become enlightened. And then he died within 7 days of his enlightenment. While another man who asked the Buddha for instruction while the Buddha was walking on his arms around, and the Buddha gave him a brief instruction that he should just merely know what he sees, what he hears, what he feels, what he touches. And this man became enlightened, and he went to prepare himself to become a monk. But on the way, he was hit by a bull and died. So people then interpret this as the reason for dying, becoming an arahant, and not becoming a monk within 7 days, you will die. But this is not the case. This just happened to be a coincidence. So don't worry, because becoming an arahant doesn't have any effect on the body. From Sawante, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Phoebe saying, good morning, dear Venerable Ajahn. Thank you for coming online to teach us 2 days in a row. I am happy you recovered from your fever. Thank you. Hi, Eng Yu. Why do we tend to reflect on past memories, especially when we are alone? That's because we don't know what else to think. So thinking about the past is easier because you already knew what happened. And sometimes you rely on past experience to keep you happy, to keep you company. But you don't think about the future because you don't know what the future gonna bring to you. So it's normal for us to think about the past when we are alone. We yearn for the good time of the past. When we think of the good time in the past, it makes us feel good. So maybe you can call this an attachment. From Joyce Uy, hi Thanajan, I am from Malaysia. My question are about observing the 8 precepts. 1. Can one wear a watch on one's wrist? Yes, if it's for useful purpose, not for ornament. 2. How many meals can one take for the day? As many meals as you like, but not after midday. 3. What time does one have to stop eating during the day? At midday, at 12 o'clock, you have to stop and no more food intake after that time. Thank you, Thanajan. Question from Fabrizio, Indiatuba, Brazil. One of the main reasons people who still don't have samadhi give up practicing hard is because they lack pleasure and happiness in the practice and only have patience, endurance. Could you please talk a little bit on this theme? That's right, that's the reason why people give up meditation after a while. That's because they could not find peace and happiness from their practice. So they have to resort back to the old method of having pleasure, that is of sensual pleasure. So if you want to advance in your meditation practice, you just have to practice more. And you have to focus, concentrate on, first of all, to develop mindfulness. You have to try to develop mindfulness and train yourself in mindfulness all the time, from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep. And so you need to have the time to practice more. And you have to train yourself in mindfulness all the time. In order to really get the result, you might have to go live alone for a while, go to seclusion, go live in a monastery somewhere quiet, where there are no distractions, and then focus your effort in the practice of mindfulness and meditation. Then you will then get the result from the meditation. Then you will not give up your practice. But if you do it only when you have time, like you have to work and you only have very little time to meditate, then it's usually impossible for you to achieve the result from meditation. So eventually you will give up meditation practice. So you have to devote a lot of time for the meditation practice, especially when you first started. Like for me, I was working, then I realized that my working and my meditation practice is in conflict. So I have to choose one or the other. So I decided to meditate. So I quit my work and dedicate 1 year to the meditation practice as a trial period to see if I can advance in my meditation practice or not. If I could, then I could continue on and became a monk. If I couldn't, then I have to come back and work because I would have run out of money to support myself with. But I was fortunate that I was able to succeed in my meditation practice. So I could become a monk and didn't have to go back to work. I've been a monk now since 1975. That's because I dedicate all my time and effort to the practice of mindfulness and meditation. From NGAJ King, good afternoon, Ajahn. Good afternoon to you. Tai Chin Kuk Kut Satu Satu. NG King, can I do sitting meditation while listening to your live Dhamma talk? Yes, you can, but you should choose one or the other. Either listening or meditate. It depends. If you use listening Dhamma talk as your meditation object, then you can listen. But if you want to use watching your breath and listening to Dhamma talk at the same time, then this is in conflict. You have to choose one or the other. If you sit in meditation by listening to Dhamma talk, this as your meditation object, then you can do this. But if you want to recite Bhutto or watch your breath and listen to Dhamma talk at the same time, then this is not good because your mind will be running back and forth. So choose one thing as your meditation object, either your breath or a mantra or listening to the Dhamma talk. Question from Phoebe Sang. I live in the middle of a city, and I understand secluded places are better for practice. If one lives an austere, simple life in the city and stays home and in isolation the majority of the time, is this enough? Yes, it's enough to start with, but as you advance in your practice, you might want more seclusion. You might want more isolated and fearful surrounding to stimulate your practice more. But when you start, if you can have isolation in your home, if you live alone and you don't mingle with anybody, this can help you get your meditation practice going. So yes, the problem is when you're alone, it's not enough by itself. Being alone is just a condition that helps you in your practice. But what really you need to do is to practice mindfulness and meditation when you're alone. Instead of watching movies, reading books, or doing any other things, you should only concentrate on mindfulness and meditation. Should one try to leave the city if possible? Eventually, if you want to have full practice, then you might want to leave the city and go live in a monastery. But if you're still halfway there, meaning that you have to work and then you have to meditate, then you have to divide up the time. Half of your time for meditation, half of the time for your work. But if you want to dedicate all of your time for meditation, then maybe it's better to go and live outside the city, in which you will not have to meet any people or go through any of the city situation. Live out in the country is much quieter, much more conducive for meditation. Where am I now? 203. From Ali Hassan, Ajahn, Madame Law, and Madame Nawati asked me to text Ajahn. They feel grateful for Ajah's teaching and blessing a few weeks ago. They help get progress to better these days. Tell them that they are welcome. Tell them to continue on practicing meditation. Don't worry too much about their health, because this is just a natural process. The body sooner or later will have to get sick and die anyway. But try to look after your mind, because your mind doesn't die with your body. And you can make the mind happy even when the body is sick. From Madeline Chin. Good afternoon, Tanajan. I noticed that every time after listening to Dhamma sharing from Ajahn, it gives me fuel to do more meditation. Thank you for your guidance and teachings. I tend to fidget more lately than usual, reciting the mantra sometimes. It's hard. Can Ajahn advise me? Yes, it's hard, but it's what you have to do. Force yourself to keep reciting the mantra, because your mind wants to be restless, wants to be agitated. So you have to force it to recite the mantra in order to calm it down. It's easy when the mind is not restless and agitated to recite the mantra. So it's good to practice reciting the mantra when the mind is not restless or agitated, so that when the mind becomes restless and agitated, you will find it easy to use the mantra to stop it. So don't be lazy. Try to recite the mantra as much as possible. Make it like a training course for yourself, like running. If you keep running every day, you'll find running is easy when you have to run. But if you don't run, and then when you have to run, you'll find it very hard to run. Question number 2 from Fabrizio in Brazil. Do you know why the Lord Buddha recommended sleep in the lion posture on the right side of the body? From what I heard, this is the position in which you will get up easily. You don't sleep too long. It's because it's not too comfortable lying on your back. Lying on your back, they say, it's a dead man's position of sleeping. You will sleep a lot. But if you sleep on the right side like a tiger, the tiger never falls asleep fully, completely. The tiger is always ready to get up and protect itself. So yes, lying on the right side posture is the recommended posture for meditator to prevent you from sleeping too much and too deeply. When you sleep on your side, you sleep, but you will be able to get up quickly. Wei Xing Chua, I am single. It's possible to stop masturbation completely. That's up to you. It's up to your will and your ability to find your sexual desire. One way to stop masturbation is to contemplate on the asubha nature of the body, the unpleasant aspect of the body, the disgusting parts of the body, like the corpse or like the inner organs of the body. If you can contemplate on these objects, then your sexual desire will disappear and there will be no need for you to masturbate. From Sally Chi, Satu, Satu, Satu. To Tang Peng, Satu. Question number 3 from Brazil, from Fabrizio. As you recommended, I am trying to recite the mantra Bhutto from the moment I wake up until sleep time, and the results are amazing. But when I do sitting meditation, Anapanasati works better. As I am developing sati, should I practice more walking than sitting meditation? It's up to you which one gives you better result. If walking gives you better result, then keep on walking. If sitting gives you better result, then do sitting more. Both positions are good. Normally, walking will give you a lot of mindfulness, and sitting will give you jhana. Walking meditation will not get you into jhana, but sitting in meditation will get you into jhana. Because in order for you to enter jhana, your body has to be still, not moving. Hi Eng Yu. Why was Buddha unable to convince the first 2 lay people he met after enlightenment? That's because they were not interested to seek enlightenment. So it's not possible to teach someone who's not interested. Is it because they did not have karmic affinity with the Buddha? No, they don't have any interest in enlightenment. They were looking for money, they were looking for fame, they were not looking for enlightenment. So it's not possible to teach someone who is not interested in enlightenment. Salute to Theravada teachings. How to practice insight meditation step by step. Namo Buddha. Well, by studying the nature of your body, like the Buddha teaches us to keep reciting, having been born, we are subjected, the body is subjected to aging, sickness, and death. So this is a step-by-step vipassana or insight meditation. First, you want to study to get the insight into the nature of the body, to see the true nature of the body, that is anicca, aging, sickness, and death. Anatta, no self in the body. The body is made up of the 4 elements. Pamanandati, Satu, Satu, Satu. From Kek Yen So, good afternoon, Ajahn. Regards from Penang. Thank you for spending your time for teaching us. You're welcome. From NG King, thank you, Ajahn. I meant listening to your Dhamma talk as my meditation object. Yes, then you can do that as a method of meditation, listening to Dhamma talk. But it might not get you to full absorption. After you finish listening to Dhamma talk, you should continue with watching your breath. Then you can go deeper into Samadhi. Ui po hua. Dear Ajahn, after hard day's work during the day, when I sit myself down to meditate, I tend to experience sloth and torpor. Should I rest first before commencing sitting? Yes, if you're sleepy, if you feel that you should need to rest, then rest first before you meditate. Because if you sit and you fall asleep, then you will not get any result anyway. So maybe you should first look after your body first before you look after your mind. Get the body ready before you can meditate properly, effectively. From Ali Hassan, I will Ajahn, Sadhu, Sadhu. Question from John, USA. Question number 1. I noticed a shift in my meditation. Now the presence of intrusive thoughts has diminished. At least recently, I'm dealing more with itch and pain. A lot of it seems to be generated invisibly by the mind. I say this because if I can maintain my focus, it either disappears or just fades into the background. Can you explain how the mind produces all these body noises? This is just the nature or the ability of the mind to create all sort of an illusion to fool you. So you just have to be wise enough to ignore them and just keep focusing on your meditation object. Once you are concentrated, then all this illusion will disappear. See, when the mind is not still, the mind keeps creating all sorts of illusion to feed the mind, to keep the mind happy, or to make the mind agitated or restless, depending on the case. So you need to have mindfulness just to focus on your meditation object. This way will then calm your mind and stop all the illusion created by the mind. Chi Chin Chuan, dear Ajahn, should I force myself to practice mindfulness? Yes, you have to force yourself because by nature you like to be without mindfulness. You like to see, you like to do things mindlessly. So you have to force yourself. Or sometimes you need conditions around you to force yourself to be mindful. That's why monks like to go to live in the forest, where there are wild animals. There are snakes and insects. So every time they walk or do something, they have to be very mindful to make sure that they are not attacked by these animals or creatures. Yes, you have to practice when you have the time. But for mindfulness, you can practice all the time because then you can practice mindfulness along with whatever you do. Just keep focusing on what you do and don't let your mind go think about other things. This is training in mindfulness. But when you sit, you have to have the time to sit. So you have to find the time or make time for your meditation. For Madeline Chin, thank you, Ajahn. Si Mei, dear Ajahn, hope all is well with Ajahn. How does a person overcome the second noble truth of delighting here and delighting there? When the mind likes fun such as playing handphone games after work or on weekends, Sadhu, you should tell your mind that this is false happiness. This is temporary happiness. Sooner or later you will not be able to do this thing. Then you will have dukkha. So it's better not to rely on this type of activities to keep you happy. Better to rely on the practice of meditation. Because you can always meditate regardless of whatever happens. But with other things you have to have the right conditions to be able to do these things and to be happy with it, from it. But with meditation, you don't have to rely on any conditions. Things can go bad or good the body can be sick or not be sick, and you can still meditate and calm your mind and be happy. Tim Watan, hello Ajahn. May Ajahn live long and healthy. Greetings from Malaysia, Puchong. Aranut, thank you Ajahn for your teaching. Question number 2 from John, USA. I know some people who believe that doing really hard things will help make the mind stronger. Things like sitting in ice cold water for a long time, or doing a total fast for many days, or meditating beyond 10 hours, so that the whole experience becomes truly painful. The Buddha warned against harmful ascetic practices, but how do we know which ones are harmful and which ones could benefit? Most of these practices are considered to be harmful and not producing enough good result. The real practice that can produce good mental result is the practice of mindfulness. So it's better to train yourself in mindfulness. Force yourself to sit in meditation than staying and doing any other thing that you mentioned. Those things can force the mind to be patient and to be enduring for a while, but they don't produce the mindfulness, that which is the real thing for the mind to have. For the mind to be strong, you need to have mindfulness, because mindfulness will give the mind equanimity, and this equanimity is the strong quality of the mind, because the mind can just resist everything with equanimity. So just train yourself in mindfulness, and whichever method helps you to develop mindfulness, then that method is good. If any method doesn't help you develop mindfulness, then that method is not good. So look for mindfulness and equanimity. How do you establish mindfulness while reading or writing Dhamma books from Wei Cheng Chua? Just concentrate on writing, then you have mindfulness. Or reading, just concentrate, don't think about other things. Sometimes you read or you write and then you also go think about other things. Then this is not mindfulness. In mindfulness, you only concentrate only on the thing that you do. Reading only, writing only, not thinking about any other thing, except thinking about the reading and the writing. From Gimbun Chu, Satu, Satu, Satu. Question number 3 from John, USA. Can you explain how pleasure is painful? I understand it can have negative consequences, but how is the feeling itself painful? No, the pleasure itself is not painful, but after the lack of the pleasure, that is when it becomes painful. That's what I mean. Sensual pleasure is painful. It's painful because sensual pleasure is temporary. It doesn't last forever. And as soon as you lose that pleasure, then the painful feeling comes into play. That's what I mean. Sensual pleasure is impermanent. By that very nature, it can make the mind to become sad after the disappearance of the sensual pleasure. So it's better not to rely on sensual pleasure to make you happy all the time, because it cannot. Sooner or later it will disappear, and then sadness or painful feeling will arise. From James Song, Satu, Satu, Satu. Looks like I have lots of comment and questions still coming in, and the time is now 55 minutes into the meeting. So I only have 5 minutes or so to answer all the rest of your questions, which you have already sent in. So if you're not typing any more questions, please don't do it now, because I won't be able to answer your question. If you are in the process of typing your question, please continue on and send in the questions. But no more new questions, because I think there's still lots of questions I haven't yet replied. From Chi Chin Chuan, is mindfulness and wisdom the same thing? No. Mindfulness is concentration. Wisdom is knowledge. First, you need to have a concentrated mind before you can teach the mind knowledge, which is wisdom, the knowledge of the Four Noble Truths and the knowledge of the three characteristics of existence, Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. From Wei Xing Chua, how to get motivated to practice Dhamma? By listening to Dhamma talk, or like joining the Dhamma discussion that we have right now, reading Dhamma books, or be near people who practice Dhamma. Then they will help you to motivate you to practice. Go stay in a monastery for a while and live with the monks. Live with monks who practice Dhamma. When you see them practice Dhamma, you will feel motivated. You will like to do like what they do. Panda Mei, Satu Satu. Chuk Boy Lo, good afternoon. Ajahn, does the mind leave the body immediately upon death? It never enters the body in the first place. The mind only sends the stream of consciousness to connect to the body. The mind is in a different world than the body. They are connected by the stream of consciousness called vijnana that connects the mind to the five sensual organs of the body. So as soon as the body dies, then this connection just become terminated. The stream of consciousness then disconnect from the body and return into the mind. Then the mind go look for a new body. As soon as it gets a new body, then it then connect with the five sensual consciousness again. From Wei Ching Chua, how a monk is able to recall past life without having past memory in brain? Because all the memory is not in the brain; it is in the mind. So when you can recollect in the mind, then you can recollect past lives. Because memory is not in the brain; it's in the mind. All what you did is contained in the mind, not in the brain. From Jack Ling Tan, greetings from Vancouver, dear Ajahn. You mentioned listening to Dhamma talk as a meditation object. Is it possible to get into jhana using this method? Not really. You need to be watching like your breath to go into deeper into jhana. By listening to Dhamma talk, sometimes you still have to think. You might still think about the Dhamma talk that you listen to. If you can focus, you still rely on the sound, which makes the mind still working to receive the sound into the mind. So I would say not possible to get into jhana using listening to Dhamma talk. But maybe it's on some special occasions, some rare cases. But normally no. Normally if you want to enter jhana, it's better to watch your breath or reciting a mantra. Wei Cheng Chua, why does some other ascetics in Christian and Islam can recall past life? Even in Buddhism, not everybody who practices Dhamma can recall past life. It's a special gift to that particular individual. So not everybody who practices meditation will be able to recollect past life. Very few, I heard, have this psychic power. So don't worry, they are not the prerequisite for enlightenment. Question number 4 from John, USA. There's a Greek philosopher named Epictetus. He said, men are disturbed not by things, but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things. Yes. Do you agree? Yes. I wonder if someone chopped off my arm, is my aversion due to my concept of the arm being cut off, or the pain after signaling what happened. No, it's the concept that the arm belongs to you. See? In truth, the arm doesn't belong to you. The body doesn't belong to you. The body is not you. If you have this truth in your mind, then when whatever happens to the body, it will not hurt the mind. From Chi Chin Chuan, when I chant mantra repeatedly to create mindfulness, do I chant aloud or chant in my mind? Chant in your mind. How to subdue temptation of 5 senses. You can use the mantra when you have the desire to see something, to hear something. Just keep reciting the mantra, Bhutto, Bhutto, Bhutto. Or try to stay away as far as possible from the 5 sensual objects. Then it will not be easy for your mind to have any temptation toward those sensual objects. Or keep the 8 precepts. The 8 precepts also will help you to prevent you from succumb to the 5 senses. Michael Cheng, gratitude for your tireless teaching, Ajahn, Sadhu, Sadhu, from Michael Cheng, Penang. Wei Ching Chua, what is the technique of effective time management? I don't know. In Buddhism, effective time management is to use all your time for the training in mindfulness. From the time you get up to the time you go to sleep. Don't waste time with doing other things. Just spend it all on training your mind with mindfulness. How to eliminate fear of ghosts when alone in late night? Recite the mantra or keep chanting Iti Piso. Don't think about the ghost, then the fear will disappear. Chi Chin Chuan, how long duration should a beginner practice meditation? As long as possible. What is the motivation to get out of bed as soon as you awake? To stop excessive sleeping. When you sleep, you should lie on the lion posture because it's not as comfortable as lying on your back. So when you become awake, then it's easy for you to get up. Or you should think that time is precious. By sleeping, you're not getting anything. So you have to get up and do what you're supposed to do. If you are a monk, then you get up and do meditation or practice mindfulness. From Wei Ching Chua, which is the one best Dhamma book which covers all the essential teachings of the Buddha? I don't know this one, but you can read the essential teaching of the Buddha, like the first discourse called the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the 4 foundation of mindfulness, and the Mangala Sutta. This cover pretty much of what the essential of the Buddha's teaching. Chi Chin Chuan, is copying mantra or Dhamma text a form of mindfulness? Yes, copying you because you have to concentrate and not thinking about other things. Charmaine Mehta, good afternoon, Ajahn, Namo Buddhaya. Greeting from Penang, Malaysia, wishing Ajahn well, healthy and happy always. I have been following Ajahn's teaching on Facebook streaming, grateful talk, and Sadhu. To Venerable Ajahn insightful Dhamma teaching and guidance, you're welcome. Anatta, dear Ajahn, where do we go if we are liberated from rebirth of enlightenment? The mind remains in the same place. The mind has no movement. The mind has no size, shape, or form. So it exists in the spiritual world. It just doesn't take up a new birth. That's all. Some Buddhists ask me not to ask the above question, but then I don't like to have an ambiguous goal to my practice. Thanks a lot, Ajahn, Venerable Sir, from Gueng Hong, Singapore. The mind doesn't take rebirth. The mind still remains in the same place, but the mind is free from suffering. The mind is permanently happy when the mind doesn't take rebirth. Then the mind became enlightened. Sunny Lim, thanks so much, Ajahn. You're welcome. Pauline Soon, Sadhu Ajahn. Joyce, Ui, thank you. Why many persons cannot sit for meditation? Even tries so hard, can Ajahn explain? Because they lack mindfulness, not enough mindfulness. So they have to first train themselves in mindfulness. Once they have enough mindfulness, then they can sit in meditation. From Irene Ui, thank you very much, Ajahn, for your profound teaching and guidance given to all in the Dhamma. Sadhu, Sadhu. From Chai Heng, Sadhu, Sadhu. From Pasana, greeting from Thailand, thank you very much for your teaching. Okay, that's all the comment and questions. Thank you very much for joining and participating in this live Q&A. I hope you gain some benefit from this session and help you advance in your practice. In the meantime, please stay safe, stay happy, stay mindful, and keep on practicing the Dhamma. Until the next time, goodbye.